Bruce and Crystal Dunahee only looked away for 30 seconds. They were watching their 4-year-old son Michael play at Coho Park in Victoria when Crystal bent down to tie her shoe. When she looked up, Michael was gone. The playground wasn't large, maybe 50 meters across, and there were other families around. But somehow, their little boy had vanished into thin air. The search that followed became the largest missing child investigation in Canadian history. Thousands of volunteers, police dogs, helicopters, and even psychics joined the hunt. But 33 years later, no one knows what happened to Michael Dunahee. Before we dive into Canada's most heartbreaking mystery, if cases like this remind you why we must never stop searching for missing children, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our investigations into the cases that changed everything. March 30th, 1991 was supposed to be a perfect family day in Victoria, British Columbia. The spring weather was mild, the cherry blossoms were blooming, and 4-year-old Michael Dunahee was excited about going to Coho Park to play. His parents, Bruce and Crystal, had planned a simple afternoon. Let Michael burn off some energy at the playground while they enjoyed the sunshine. Detective Sergeant Bob Hall of the Victoria Police Department would later describe Coho Park as an ideal family destination. Located in the James Bay neighborhood, it was a small, contained playground surrounded by residential streets. The park featured basic equipment, swings, slides, and an open area perfect for playing ball. Most importantly, it felt safe. Parents routinely brought their children here without worry. Michael was an energetic, blonde-haired boy who loved playing soccer and running around outdoors. His parents described him as friendly, but not naive. They had taught him about stranger danger and staying close to family. He wore a distinctive outfit that day, a blue and green rugby shirt, navy corduroy pants, and white running shoes with Velcro straps. At approximately 1:30 p.m., the Dunahee family arrived at Coho Park. Other families were already there, enjoying the weekend afternoon. Children played while parents chatted and kept watch. It was exactly the kind of normal, safe family outing that happens thousands of times every weekend across Canada. Crystal remembers feeling completely relaxed as Michael ran toward the playground equipment. He was an active child who needed space to run and play. The park was small enough that she could see every corner from where she and Bruce were standing. Nothing seemed unusual or threatening about the afternoon, but someone had been watching. At approximately 1:40 p.m., Crystal Dunahee bent down to tie her shoe. It was a simple, automatic gesture that took perhaps 30 seconds. When she stood up and looked toward the playground, Michael was nowhere to be seen. At first, Crystal wasn't alarmed. Small children are constantly moving, hiding behind equipment, or wandering to different areas of playground. She called Michael's name and began walking around the play structures, expecting to find him climbing or playing hide-and-seek. But Michael wasn't behind the slides. He wasn't on the swings. He wasn't in the small wooded area at the edge of the park. Bruce joined the search, and together they systematically checked every corner of Coho Park. The playground was only 50 meters across, smaller than a football field. There simply weren't many places for a 4-year-old to hide. Other families at the park noticed the growing panic and began helping with the search. Parents called out Michael's name while checking areas the Dunahees might have missed. Someone suggested he might have wandered toward the nearby beach, just a few blocks away. Detective Hall arrived at Coho Park within minutes of the initial police call at 2:15 p.m. He found a scene of controlled chaos. Dozens of people searching frantically for a little boy who seemed to have simply vanished. The playground showed no signs of struggle. Michael's soccer ball was still where he had been playing. In 30 years of police work, I had never seen anything like it, Hall would later reflect. A child doesn't just disappear from a small, contained area with multiple witnesses around. But that's exactly what happened to Michael. Within hours of Michael's disappearance, Victoria Police had launched the most extensive missing child search in Canadian history. The initial response involved every available officer, but it quickly expanded far beyond law enforcement. Constable Dave Horan coordinated the volunteer search efforts and was amazed by the community response. We had teachers who left their schools to help search. Business owners closed their shops. Entire families came out to look for Michael. I've never seen anything like the mobilization that happened in Victoria. The search expanded systematically from Coho Park. Teams of volunteers walked grid patterns through nearby neighborhoods, checking every backyard, shed, and hiding place where a 4-year-old might be found. Other teams searched the waterfront areas, worried that Michael might have wandered toward the ocean. Crystal and Bruce Dunahee found themselves at the center of a media storm unlike anything Victoria had ever experienced. Television crews arrived from across Canada and the United States. Michael's photograph appeared on milk cartons, billboards, and missing child posters distributed throughout North America. The investigation revealed disturbing possibilities that no parent wants to consider. Michael's disappearance had been too quick and too clean to be accidental. Someone had likely taken advantage of that 30-second window when Crystal tied her shoe to abduct the little boy. If this case is affecting you as deeply as it affects us, please take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Michael's story deserves to be remembered, and your engagement helps ensure missing children are never forgotten. Detective Hall pursued every possible lead. The investigation looked into known sex offenders in the area, analyzed vehicle movements around Coho Park, and followed up on hundreds of reported sightings. A behavioral analyst from the FBI was brought in to develop a profile of the likely abductor. The profile suggested someone who had been watching the park, waiting for an opportunity. The speed of Michael's disappearance indicated planning and preparation. Most disturbing of all, the complete lack of physical evidence suggested someone with experience in avoiding detection. Michael Dunahee's case became more than a missing child investigation. It became a national obsession that changed how Canada thought about child safety. His disappearance occurred before the internet, before Amber Alert systems, and before the sophisticated communication networks that help find missing children today. The search techniques used in 1991 seem primitive by modern standards. Volunteers distributed flyers by hand. Police relied on radio communication and landline phones. Missing child information spread through television broadcasts and newspaper articles rather than instant social media alerts. Despite these limitations, the search for Michael Dunahee was remarkable in its scope and dedication. Psychics from across North America offered their services. Search and rescue teams combed through forests and wilderness areas for hundreds of miles around Victoria. Even as months passed without new leads, the community refused to give up hope. Crystal Dunahee became an advocate for missing children throughout Canada. She worked with law enforcement to improve search protocols and supported other families dealing with similar tragedies. Her strength in the face of unimaginable loss inspired a nation of parents who couldn't imagine surviving such an ordeal. The case also highlighted disturbing gaps in child protection systems. Canada had no national missing child database in 1991. Communication between different police departments was often slow and inadequate. The Amber Alert system that might have helped find Michael wouldn't be implemented for another decade. 33 years later, Michael Dunahee's case remains active with the Victoria Police Department. Modern investigative techniques have been applied to every piece of evidence collected in 1991, but the results have been frustratingly inconclusive. Detective Inspector Del Manac, who now oversees Michael's case, has used digital enhancement technology to age progress Michael's appearance. If he survived his abduction, Michael would now be 37 years old. The age-progressed photos have been distributed internationally, generating new tips and possible sightings. DNA analysis has been applied to physical evidence from Coho Park, but the results haven't produced any definitive leads. The passage of time has made forensic analysis more challenging, and the outdoor crime scene was contaminated by the hundreds of people who searched the area immediately after Michael's disappearance. In recent years, investigators have looked at Michael's case in connection with other missing children from the same time period. The possibility that his abductor was responsible for multiple crimes has led to expanded investigations across North America. The Victoria Police Department still receives tips about Michael's case on a regular basis. Every potential sighting is investigated, every new theory is examined, and every advancement in forensic science is applied to the evidence collected 33 years ago. Michael Dunahee's disappearance changed Canada forever. His case led directly to the implementation of the Amber Alert system, improved communication between police departments, and better training for officers investigating missing children cases. The playground at Coho Park still exists, though it has been renovated and updated several times since 1991. A small memorial plaque near the entrance reminds visitors of the little boy who vanished here and the community that never stopped looking for him. Crystal and Bruce Dunahee never had another child after Michael's disappearance. They divorced several years later, both carrying the weight of that 30-second moment when their world changed forever. Crystal continues to advocate for missing children and maintains hope that Michael might still be alive somewhere. "I still believe someone knows what happened to Michael," Crystal said in a recent interview. 33 years is a long time to keep a secret. Someone out there has information that could bring our son home. The case serves as a permanent reminder of how quickly a normal family day can become a parent's worst nightmare. In a world where children are often allowed to play freely in neighborhood parks, Michael's disappearance represents every parent's deepest fear, that looking away for just a moment could change everything forever. Today, when parents bring their children to playgrounds across Canada, many think of Michael Dunahee. His case taught a generation of families that safety requires constant vigilance and that predators can strike anywhere, anytime, even in the most innocent settings. Michael will be 37 years old now. Somewhere, he might be living a life completely unaware of his true identity. Or somewhere, someone might be carrying the secret of what happened to a 4-year-old boy who vanished from a Victoria playground on a perfect spring afternoon in 1991. The search for Michael Dunahee officially continues, but its real legacy lives in the countless children who have been protected by the safety systems his disappearance helped create. Subscribe, like, and comment if you believe that every missing child deserves to be remembered and that some mysteries are too important to ever stop investigating. Because Michael Dunahee is still out there somewhere, and his story deserves to be told until he comes home.